Hello, this is Scott Keiber reporting for the South Lake Chamber, Clermont Biz, and It Pays to Shop South Lake. I'm joined by Dante Chinni, who is a journalist for the Christian Science Monitor. We're so happy to have you here today. We're actually at the Chamber's Business After Hours. It's April the 8th. We're at Dr. Lynn's Chiropractic Specific Restoration Clinic. Everybody's having a good time. Well, we want to take a couple minutes and ask you some questions about what you work on, which is the Patchwork Network. It's a project that's being brought to you by PBS as well as the Christian Science Monitor. And you're a journalist. Ray Sanfratello is also a blogger. Ann Dupay is also a blogger on the website. I understand that Clermont is a, what do they call it, empty nesters community.
Right, nest, yeah.
Empty nest community, okay. And as a small business with kids, and I'm not an empty nester myself, right, we face certain challenges and decisions as small business people that aren't always the same decisions as maybe the empty nest residents that are in town. So first of all, would you tell us about the Patchwork Project? Anything that you want to tell us about, you know, the rest of the communities as well. But if you could touch on where we are maybe related to some of the other communities around the nation, and what are some similarities and some of the challenges that we face as a community, especially with the economy kind of going down. Now it's coming back. We don't know where we are. We don't know where to employ some of our resources. And we all see a brighter future, but it's how fast we get there, right? Okay.
Patchwork Nation, what we did is we've taken all the counties in the U.S. and we've used demographics and data to break them into 12 different types of county. And I come to Clermont and Lake because Lake represents this type of place called an emptying nest, which is, you know, a lot of people 55 and over, which you have 2 retirement communities right here in Clermont. And I've been coming here for about 3 years now to get a feel for what's happening kind of here at the local level. And it's been really interesting to me. I mean, emptying nest communities in general, they tend to, obviously, they're a little older. And they tend to be more resistant to change, and I think that's that's something you guys are dealing with here in this community in particular. You've got, and you're right, not everybody here. When you say a place is an empty nest, doesn't mean that everybody there is a retiree or over 55, but there's a lot of people there like that, and it definitely plays a role. It shapes how the community deals with everything, how the community deals with growth, how it deals with business expansion, and how it deals with kind of what it wants to be in this economy. And you guys have some specific challenges, not completely different from other types of places, but somewhat unique.
Well, we talk about It Pays to Shop South Lake and why it's important to spend your gas money, your grocery store money, really spend your money with your neighbors here in the local community. We're a bedroom community to Orange County. We have a lot of residents that leave here and go into Orange County, and then they spend their goods and they go to lunch over there. Maybe they buy their gas there. How is that similar or different to other empty nest communities around the United States?
It's fairly similar. I mean, these places, these empty nest communities tend not to be major metropolitan areas. They tend to be outside of major metropolitan areas, which you guys are. I mean, you're kind of a ex-urban area, really, of Orlando. The thing that's interesting for places like this, I think, as you're trying to sort through what your economy is going to be going forward, there's a tendency in all communities, but I think particularly in these emptying nests, because they have this older component that's more resistant to change, to think that the what you want to do in terms of moving everything forward is to go back to the way things were. And to try to rebuild the economy along the lines as it used to be. And I just don't think that, I really don't think that that's where things are moving. I think that if you're looking for what you want this place to be, what you want Clermont to be, what you want Lake to be, those things have to be about reimagining what the place is going to be. And you can't maybe just be a bedroom community anymore. I mean, what sustains a bedroom community? It's housing. Right, so you've built and you've got a lot more houses here and a lot more people here, but that's not gonna sustain you going forward. First of all, there's just not a lot more building you can do in terms of houses, and then even if you do, then your tax base is kind of it
suffers.
Yeah.
It suffers.
Absolutely. And that ultimately affects the people that live here as well. So, I mean, to me, my suggestion when I look at all these communities around the country, it's a natural tendency to want to pull back and say, let's just do what we did before and try to make ourselves comfortable again. I just think you're dealing with a different world now, a changed economy. It's not just a recession, it's a restructuring of the U.S. economy. And you have to face that, I think, and kind of really try to reimagine what you want to be. And that involves some forward thinking, and it's going to involve taking some chances. But
hard choices.
Absolutely. You can't just go back. You can't just think like, God, that recession, thank God it's over. Let's just go back. I just don't think that's going to work right now. It's not going to work.
And would you say that empty nest communities should be open-minded as far as embracing growth? Is it true that the commercial tax base, that the commercial businesses tend to pay more than what they consume, whereas the rooftops and a lot of the empty nester homes consume more of the tax-based resources than they put in?
Well, yeah. I mean, just generally residential, residences, you do get some property taxes from them, but yeah, it's limited. It's limited what you can draw out of them. And I really do think if we're talking about becoming sustainable as a community in terms of your tax inflow and outflow, your revenue inflow and outflow, yeah, you've got to do some kind of expansion. And I think you've got to do the right kind of expansion. I don't think you can just build more homes. I think you've got to really think about how do we raise the intellectual profile of our community, how we bring in more high-skilled jobs, more high-education jobs. The more you can do in that way, I think where the economy is moving, that's a really smart move. But that takes, you're going to have to do some work to get there. It's not going to be easy.
And quality of life, cutting out 40-minute commute there and back every day. I mean, you get home closer to your kids, be with the family even sooner.
Yeah, and the other thing to keep in mind about the long commutes is the era of the long commute is dying, I think. Unless we can come up with some new way to fuel cars quickly. Gas prices are down a little bit. They're up again now, but they're not to where they were. But they're going to go up again because you've got to deal. It's not just about Clermont. It's not just about the U.S. It's about the fact that you've got to deal with China now, and you got to deal with India now, and those economies are growing. It's not bad, but they're growing, and that's great. They're getting middle classes, and that's great. But that means they're going to buy cars. That means they're going to need gas. So prices of oil, prices of crude, and ultimately the price of gas. These things are all going to go up. So the idea of driving an hour back and forth is going to sound a lot less appealing than it did maybe in 2000 or 2001.
Yeah, we agree. Well, thank you very much, Dante Chinni from the Christian Science Monitor and PBS. He's joining us at the Business After Hours of the South Lake Chamber. It's a great event. We really appreciate you staying a little bit longer. We hope that you come back, and we hope that we see more of your blogs soon.
Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.